What up, guys, and welcome to the coffee shop. This is your host and barista, and this is just going to be a quick little tutorial video. It's just going to be very quick. Hopefully, I could just do a couple of minutes long, right? I just want you guys to understand something about the construct of the MACD and why a lot of you are misinterpreting it, okay? A lot of people are trying to use just the histogram to determine whether the trend is long or short, and you don't want to do that. That's not what you're doing. The histogram is telling you the strength of your trend, okay? So the MACD is telling you when you can re-enter trades or when it looks like you can re-enter, but you shouldn't. All right. And I want you to really understand like how this works out for you. Okay. It's a really cool thing. So what we're looking at here, this is a high time frame MACD that I've created, and you can get this from my profile. And it really just has 4 parts to the histogram. Okay. And we already know that when there's a crossover of the MACD and the signal, right, you get a crossover of 0 for the histogram. The histogram always crosses 0 when there's a crossover of these two. That's fine. This does not mean bullish or bearish, right? This does not mean bearish at this point. Bearish actually started over here. Somewhere over here as bearish began. Okay, this bearish move. That actually happened over here, and I'm going to show you how to find that. Okay, now you need to understand what the histogram is telling you, right? So when the MACD is above the signal line, it doesn't matter if it's above or below 0, it doesn't matter, right? When it's above it, the histogram will be rising from 0. But look very carefully for what's happening. If you look at the histogram, the space between the MACD and the signal line is getting wider, right? So that means the histogram itself is getting a nice dark color to show a strength in the long trend. But at this point, right, the space between the MACD and the signal, it just starts to get a tick smaller, and it continues. They continue getting closer and closer to each other. So that means you have a weak uptrend, right? So you have the uptrend. Look at what price is doing. It's still giving you these small uptrends, but you have a weak uptrend at this point. So I wanted you to realize what that means. So over here, it said if the histogram is falling and it's expanding, then you have strength in your downtrend. Okay. So, and that's here. And you need to know price action first. Do you have higher highs, lower lows, right? You need to know like what do you have going on here. So one way you can interpret it very easily is you can set your MACD at a certain length. I have mine set at 14, right? I put a moving average on my chart, also set at 14. So when the price is below, the 14 period moving average and the 14 period moving average is sloped down, right? Because here it's price is below, but it's sloped up, right? I'm talking about here where price closes below and the moving average is moving down. Okay, look at what's happening with your MACD, right? You allegedly had, let me do this here. You allegedly had an uptrend with your MACD and your signal line, right? But you're closing below and they crossed over each other. So in this point, like at this point, you lost the uptrend. So you can actually start looking at these price values, like at these price levels. You can start looking at those to start taking potential short trades. You don't have to wait for the crossover, okay? So once you get there and price is closing below, right, and the moving average is sloped down, you are getting an expansion of your histogram. The space between these two is getting wider. So you have a strength in your downtrend. And you can keep taking short trades, keep taking short positions until you get this little marker here, right? See where the space between them starts to get smaller? Okay, that's telling you, hey, you basically hit bottom. You hit support. Stop taking short trades and look for potential long trades, right? Now, again, I have the moving average and the MACD set at this same interval. They're set the same 14 period look back. So if this is my uptrend or like the weakening of the downtrend, right? Histogram falling plus compression. Compression means the space is getting smaller, right? If the histogram is smalling and there's compression taking place, I have no strength in my downtrend. That means I'm hitting support and I should be looking for uptrend moves, right? So at this point, you get compression taking place I'm looking for price to get above the moving average, right? So I'm still here. I'll wait for price to get above, and it gets right there. Notice how it happens before the crossover of the histogram, right? Of the crossover of the histogram and the MACD signal. So my signal to trade long began here because I have no strength in my downtrend. So that's a very easy way, little 5-minute lesson. So you understand where your trades can actually begin to go in reversals, or where you could stop trading long or stop trading short. For example, to give you an example of where you stop trading long, right? Right here, do this. All right. So, I locked these in place. That's not good. These are actually supposed to be showing you this. Let's see. This is, hey, go like that. Go like this. There, they're anchored. Okay, so this is 4. This is 3. I messed that up a little bit, didn't I? This is here and this is here. I should have just anchored them, right? Yeah, that works. Okay, that works. Oh, I didn't anchor one of them. There. Anchored, right? Well, it's not anchoring it for some reason. That's weird. Do this. Anchor off. Anchor on. There we go. Interesting. Not holding it. All right. So anyway, so back to what I was talking about. I like doing these things live for you. So you can see that price ended up getting above your moving average. You lost the downtrend, so you can start looking at uptrend moves. Great. Here was your last high. Here's your new low. It's a higher low. You're closing above the high. You can continue taking your long trades. At this point, you see you have expansion taking place all the way to here, right? So if it takes place all the way to here, look at the next candle. The next candle gives you those moves down. It breaks previous lows. It doesn't break any swing low, which is fine, right? But it's basically telling you you have lost your uptrend. You don't have momentum in your uptrend. And that's when the histogram is rising with compression. Means there's no strength in the uptrend, okay? And previously, this part is number 3. If the histogram was rising with expansion, you have strength in your uptrend. Here you have strength in your uptrend, okay? You're above your 14. Everything is rising, right? Everything is rising. You have strength, okay? And if that's the case, then wait until you have no strength while everything is rising and you're above your rising moving average. You are losing the strength. You are hitting resistance, right? Personally, I would look for the last swing low and the last swing high. The last swing low would be right here, right there. I do that. And the last swing high would be right there. That's what I would end up calling my range. All right. And then going forward, I would just wait for price to break through that range. And that will tell me where, right, I'm going to start getting short trades or more long trades. And that's how you do it. Okay, so not a 5-minute, more of like a little 8-minute tutorial on how to read the MACD the appropriate way. All right, peeps, peace out. Thanks for coming through to the coffee shop. Got something else coming up for you.